Thank you for inviting us. I'm going to say us because we are here with a group of young people. You are going to hear more about it by the next speakers. I was working for a federation of cooperatives for renewable energy, and there we try to get people involved in investing in the renewable energies or sustainable energy for the future. We are working, as I said, with cooperatives. This is a definition that was used by Ban Ki-moon from the United Nations. And there is a number of words that are really important to understand what we are working with. So it's an autonomous associations of persons that unite voluntarily to meet common needs and aspirations through a jointly owned and democratically controlled enterprise. And the words are relatively important. I'm coming back on that in later slides. We are living in a world with a lot of troubles. On the left side you see the more environmental problems, then we have the political problems, the wars we are fighting, plus the difference in the balance in the distribution of wealth and the use of resources. And we have to remember that Earth Overshoot Day, the day when we start lending from the future or lending or taking from others elsewhere in the world, was already at August 9th last year. So that means after that we are consuming things that we don't really have available. And so if we want to grow out of the crisis we are living with, then we only have one source that we can use, and that's the only outside source we have, which is the sun. And in that case, we are going to be working on organic foods, on renewable energy, on materials we can grow. And it's very well to know or to remember that when we use a wooden beam, when we use hemp insulation, then we are actually using a sink for CO2 for the next 50 years, when as long as the building is existing, or as long as my clothes are existing. That's using the materials. An organization that sort of fits the tree is an organization in the north of France, which is called Le Chenelet. They used to produce, it's a social enterprise, social employment. They were growing organic food and selling organic food. They started using wood, pruning trees, or correcting woods, forests. And they started to later on to build ecological, low-energy houses, social houses, using renewable energy and the materials they grow or they harvest in their neighborhood. When we talk the cooperatives, as we are working with, we talk a lot about the use of the common goods, the use of the sun, the wind, or of the public goods, which is all infrastructure that we have paid for, basically. And those are basically things that we can't just privatize and give in the hands of anybody. They should remain in local communities. And for instance, in Flanders, we have been doing a claim of the wind, just to show them that we really want to get hold of those resources, not let them go out to anybody. What we see is that when it comes to renewable energy and the bigger plants, we often see either people who are in favor or people who are strongly against. But in any case, what you see is energy. There's a lot of energy in these communities, and if we turn the no against wind energy around and build that through a local community, then we can really harvest a lot of values or for the benefit of local communities. The picture on the right side is a picture of Wiedesande in Denmark, where the local community was against wind turbines until the local tourist board said, well, let's invest together. And then people entered into the game. I just used the word harvest, and that is really doing the same as we are doing in agriculture. What we have to know is that we are preparing, that we are supporting, nurturing, so we are investing in something to be able to harvest. That's an important thing. It doesn't come for free. We have to do something. But then what comes out is, and you can see here on the bottom, theoretically here in Spain you could harvest 55 euros per inhabitant per month. That's based on statistics, energy consumption statistics. But what you also harvest, and that's maybe more important, that's the resilience of local communities, self-confidence, peace, solidarity, local employment, price stability. There's a whole lot of advantages. Anyway, we are going, as citizens, we are going to pay the energy transition in any way. We are going to pay as a consumer through our energy bills, as a taxpayer for subsidies that are being handed out, or as holders of savings account when a bank is going to lend the money to the developers. So if we do pay the energy transition anyway, then it's interesting to get involved and to set up the whole energy supply ourselves, to invest collectively, to consume energy more efficiently, to produce energy ourselves, and to keep the benefits or the revenues in our own communities. Now, the effect of what you can see when an energy supply is democratically controlled, this is the biggest housing estate in Denmark, and there what you actually see is, in one slide you see 3 different levels of local democracy below the local political level. In Denmark, the people who are living in the building, they had to decide if they were accepting a PV plant on their building. Then they were developing on the roof, they were setting up solar thermal plant. That one, they had to decide with the whole surrounding area, because the thermal plant is going to inject in the district heating system. And then they had a local group below the political level that took one of the wind turbines, invested in one of the wind turbines that were developed in the harbor of the municipality. So there you see that there's already 3 different kind of levels where people have to decide locally themselves what is going to happen with their future. In Europe, what we have been doing with the RESCOPs is we are pre-financing projects elsewhere, and there is a group, this is an example of what happened in Portugal. There were people in Europe who are investing in Portugal. They set up a plant in 2014, and local people are taking it back before summer of this year. And we have now set up a revolving fund to continue that elsewhere. And we are looking now into similar projects in Greece. When we see that in Europe, how much solar energy we have, we see that we only need 0.5% or so of that solar energy to be able to cover all our energy consumption. What was also important for me, at least at some point, and I've been working in the environment movement for a long time, is that the price we are willing to pay for emission certificates is very, very low compared to what we pay for the fuels we use to emit CO2. So it's more interesting to look at how much money can we keep in our community instead of looking for purchasing of emission credits elsewhere. Here on the islands, you need a little bit less of the energy available to cover your energy consumption. What you see here is the prices in the different periods, and what you discover is that there is an enormous amount of money that goes out now that wasn't disappearing in 2000 because of the raise in the prices, even though the prices has come down a lot. It's about, and there's the 55 euros a month that comes back there in the 1,220 million euros a year that disappear from the island here. What's happening is that we see that the prices worldwide are, the cost of energy is dropping a lot, only that is not translated in people's energy bills for now. What we see is that solar PV is here on the island will be at around 4.5 cents per kilowatt hour. For wind, we would end up with 3.2. And then what we see is that even if we only if we use fossil fuels, that the price is a lot higher than what we see for solar PV and wind. And there's the advantage that you don't have the risk of pollution of, for instance, crude oil that you would have a spill of. When there's a huge solar spill, it's just called a very nice day. What we see in Denmark is that they are using a lot of cogeneration. They used to have still some fossil fuels entering into the systems. So they produced electricity from solar and wind, but they used biomass or fossil fuels for the production of heat. By now, they are using also heat from, or they are producing heat from solar and wind if the prices go down too much. And if you set up a system like that is integrated, then you come to a system that can cover the whole energy consumption throughout the year without getting out of balance. And that's, for islands like this, it's important. One example that exists in the world of a fully 100% renewable energy community is Güssing in Austria, where a village with 4,000 inhabitants used to pay 6 million euros for fossil fuels and have created, in the process of getting 100% renewable, they created 1,000 jobs and attracted 50 businesses and are now producing 13 million worth of energy from local renewable energy sources. To get started, and it's the last thing I wanted to say is, we often say try to get involved in schools, because there you touch into the future generations. You reach out to a community that is maybe more willing to invest in a better quality of the building that their people are, or their children are working in. So that's what I wanted to tell.